Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show. My name is Leon Jones. Tonight's topic: what is a FICO score? What is a FICO score? A FICO score is a type of credit score created by the Fair Isaac Corporation. Lenders use borrowers' FICO scores along with other details on borrowers' credit reports to assess credit risk and to determine whether to extend a prospective borrower any type of credit. Now, FICO scores take into account various factors and they're divided up into 5 areas. First and foremost, payment history. Pay your bills on time. Current level of indebtedness. Types of credit used. Length of credit history and new credit card accounts. Now, breaking down the FICO score. Basically, FICO scores range between 300 and 850. In general, scores above 650 indicate a very good credit history. In contrast, individuals with scores below 620 often find it difficult to obtain financing at favorable rates. To determine creditworthiness, what lenders do, they take a borrower's FICO score into account, but also other details such as income, how long the borrower has been at a job, and the type of credit requested. Now, when your FICO score is calculated, the Fair Isaac Corporation weighs each category differently for each individual. However, in general, payment history is 35% of the score, accounts owed is 30% of the score, length of history is 15%, and new credit is 10%, along with credit mix. Now, we're going to break down some of the categories so you understand why you need to make sure that you take care of each and every one of the issues before you even think about obtaining lines of credit. Payment history happens to be the most important. Now, payment history refers to whether an individual pays their credit amounts on time. Credit reports show the payments submitted for each line of credit, and the reports indicate if the payments were received in 30, 60, 90, or even 120 days or more late. That's why when you are going to be late, make sure that you contact the creditor because they will be lenient. See, one of the problems that people run into is the failure to communicate. We all get in a pinch to where we don't have the money, particularly with a slow economy. Also, when you deal with lines of credit, don't try to obtain more credit than you really need. And if you do obtain a credit card, make sure that you don't have a large balance. Because with credit cards, 2 things that are going to become an enemy of yours. Number 1, over limit fees and late fees. In fact, credit card companies make money off of over limit fees and late fees. And you see individuals, particularly who have bad credit, companies such as First Premier Bank, Centennial Bank, they send a lot of credit card offers. Be leery of those credit card offers. You have to read the fine print because the last thing you want to do is get into debt because of credit cards. There have been people who have had to file bankruptcy, Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And the reason why I'm telling you all this information because if you pay your payments late, it's still going to be a strike against you on your credit report, and bad credit stays on your credit report for 7 years. Now, when we get into the amounts owed, that's the second important category that you must take care of. Now, what do I mean by accounts owed? Well, as the amount of money an individual owes. Having a lot of debt does not necessarily equate to low credit scores. Rather, FICO considers the ratio of money owed to the amount of credit available. To illustrate, an individual who owes, let's say, around $10,000, but has all of his lines of credit extended and all of his credit cards maxed out, may have a lower credit score than an individual who owes $100,000 but is not close to the limit of any accounts. Here's what I'm going to say on that. When it comes to any type of credit, I like it to be the big goose egg, 0. Because if I take a credit card and I don't spend more than my line of credit, or I take my credit card and use it as an emergency, but I pay it back in small installments. And you want to pay your credit cards in small installments because, again, credit is very, very tricky. Now, I'm giving information off articles and I'm using my own experience, but let me tell you this. You know, if you pay your credit card back too early sometimes, that also has an effect on your credit score. It gives you bad credit. The reason why it gives you bad credit because you're not showing the lender that you are making installments. See, what lenders do when they give you a credit card, they want to see if you're able to make payments in timely fashion, but they want you to make payments over a longer period of time, not a short period of time. Because in the long run, when you are paying your bill off, guess what the creditors aren't getting? Interest. See, credit cards or credit of any magnitude is big business. The longer you have your balance outstanding and you're constantly paying the minimum, you're paying interest. You're not paying principal. And the more interest you pay, the longer it's going to take you to pay the credit card off. This is why you cannot borrow more than you need. And this is what gets people in trouble. Also, they don't have enough cash resources saved up, so they utilize their credit cards. And that's what gets people in debt with the creditors, because credit cards, they don't have an infinite balance. They have a finite balance. And once you max out your credit cards, those credit cards are no good until you pay them down. The available amount of credit that you will have on a credit card is what you pay down or what you haven't used. Now, when we deal with credit, we must take the length of credit history as well. It's important, but again, the length of credit history is 15% of your FICO score. So as a general rule, you need to understand this. The longer an individual has had credit, the better his or her score. However, with favorable scores in the other categories, even some with a short credit history can have a good score. So what FICO does, it takes into account how long the oldest account has been open. Also, the age of the newest account is part of the mix, along with the overall average. And the average is the old and the new put together. Again, with credit, understanding credit, I could spend not a lifetime, but days breaking it down, giving you the finite details. What this is an overview, so you have an idea of what your FICO score is made of. So when you check your credit report, you can look at all of your accounts to see which ones are open, which ones are closed, and you can get an idea of what goes into your FICO score. Now, the area that most people really don't talk about is a credit mix. Now, what is a credit mix? Very simple. A credit mix is just a mix of types of credit accounts you have. Let me give them to you right now. Credit cards, retail accounts, installment loans such as signature loans, you can have vehicle loans or mortgages. And the last one, talk about new credit. Now, new credit refers to recently opened accounts. Now, if the borrower has opened a bunch of accounts, it's not good either. That includes credit cards, personal loans. That's what a new credit account is. The reason why that's not good, the more accounts you have open, you put yourself at a higher risk, and that lowers your score. Now, let me tell you this as well. The more new credit inquiries that you have, this is why it lowers your score, because you're making inquiries. You don't want to put too many inquiries on your credit report, because your score will go down, and it'll go down very, very quickly. But you want to make sure that each and every one of your credit accounts are paid on time. Make sure they're open. You don't want any closed accounts on your credit report, because that's also going to hurt your credit report as well. You don't want any bad debt. Well, closed accounts are really bad debt credit cards, or we call it in accounting allowance for doubtful accounts. That means your account's closed, it's been written off by the creditor and sent to collections. You don't want that on your credit report, because that's going to be there for 7 years until you're able to get it removed. Now, you have people like Lexington Law who can monitor your credit. What they do, they write the creditors letters to try to see if the account is an error, or even if it's your account. That's the process that has to come into play when you want to get any item off of your credit report, because you want credit. Because even no credit, guess what? Having no credit can be a bad thing as well. You know why? Because with no credit, you're not showing the lenders that you're capable of paying your bills on time. So you could be a risk, or you could not be a risk. But I will assure you, if you pay attention to this video and some of the details that I have afforded you, you should get an idea of how the FICO score really works. Go to Investopedia if you want to find a definition of the FICO score. Because in the end, when it comes to getting the items that you need, such as a house and a car, and I'm talking about a dependable car, a new house, because the newer the vehicle, the newer the house is, that means you have great credit. You're not going to get a vehicle with too many problems. You're going to have a house that has too many problems. It's usually the used cars and the houses that have had problems in the past that were used that have a lot of problems. So having a good FICO score puts you in a good credit standing, because that means you have good credit worthiness and you're not at a high risk. So lenders are going to be able to extend credit, not just personal credit either, business credit as well. That's why you have a DUNS number, because that's your social security number for your business. And in DUNS, they also have a credit report that vendors will look at to see if they want to work with you when it comes to allowing you or extending you credit for your business. Banks are going to use that as well. Because credit, believe it or not, credit is also part of net worth. Most of us think of it as having cash. Cash goes out the window sometimes. You have to utilize credit. So don't be a credit risk. Make sure you pay your bills on time. You keep your accounts open. Don't borrow more than you need. So at the end of the day, you will be able to get items at a lower credit risk, and that will save you more money in the long run. And that's it for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show for today, Tuesday, January 10th, 2017. You can tune into the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show every Monday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. And if you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show right here on YouTube, so I can give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't engage in social or controversial or emotional issues, nor do I participate in drama or unnecessary bickering. On my channel, I provide you with information on business, education, and careers, and what you get from that are the tools to help you survive the real world and make proper decisions so you don't become a person who's going to end up in debt. But I also keep everything besides realistic positive because, again, I'm educating people. And knowledge is power. And if you have a business or a topic that you would like for me to discuss on Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. Not just on Blog Talk Radio, but also on my YouTube channel. And I'm going to send a shout out to my brother Q Wilson. Check out his new channel. He's going to talk about health. He just started, put up his first video today. I subscribe to it. I want everybody else to subscribe to help this brother come to become a YouTuber. I'm happy for him. But welcome this brother into our YouTube community. And if you have a comment, please leave it in the comment section under my video. But make sure your comments are pithy. No bloviating or pettifogging if you wish to opine. And that's it for this video. Until next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other and have a wonderful and blessed night. Good night.